Hi there, and welcome back for our very last week of the APUSH Boot Camp. I have really enjoyed learning alongside all of you this summer, and I hope it's been helpful for you as well. At the end of this week, I'm going to be posting a survey, and I would really appreciate it if you would take the time to fill that out. It will be so helpful for me when planning if I'm going to make any adjustments when I do this next year. So let's dive into what this week is going to look like. As always, I'm going to go through your goals and your tasks. This week, we're focusing on transatlantic exchanges in colonial society, and the theme is American and national identity. So, we want to be able to explain the causes and effects of transatlantic trade over time. We have new objectives this week. We're not looking at our four colonial regions anymore. We're looking at how the movement of people and ideas, that's key here, ideas contributed to the development of an American culture, and then how different goals and interests of European leaders affected how they viewed themselves and the relationship with Britain. So as we near the end of Unit 2, as we get closer to 1754, we are going to start seeing a bit of a shift in the way that the colonists view themselves and the British. And then finally, our skill-based objective this week is to support an argument using specific and relevant evidence. We've worked on this objective before, but this week we're in particular going to be looking at it in regards to using documents as evidence. So your tasks, you have a bit more reading than usual this week. So AMSCO 35 through 38, those pages are essential. 45 through 55. If you're short on time, really make sure that you address pages 49 through 55. And once again, please try to work through Taylor, but if you just can't do it, that's all right. You just do what you can when you can. So FBI notes, there's period 2 FBI notes, and then you're going to get to chapter 3 FBI notes, and then you've got your postings and your new objectives to complete. So here's a little bit of a content preview. There's 2 separate videos on YouTube that you can check out to review the content. The first one is looking at topics related to transatlantic trade. A really key term related to this is going to be mercantilism. So mercantilism is a system that's going to develop in the hopes of bringing more wealth to the British. And so there's going to be some laws that are put in place, the Navigation Acts. And so it's really going to begin the process of regulating trade between Europe and the colonies. Secondly, part of the transatlantic trade is the part about triangular trade. So triangular trade is going to be an actual system where certain goods and people, including enslaved Africans, are going to be traded from the Americas to Europe, to Africa and back. So it makes kind of a triangle, and the ships will actually participate in each of those legs. And so pay attention to what is being exchanged in that triangular trade. All right. And then the second lesson is on colonial society and culture. So the first part of it is looking at colonial characteristics. So as we move through the 18th century, there's some pretty significant changes that happen. So you want to look at what is the population? Who is part of this group of people that are known as British colonists? You want to be aware of education, advances in arts, and architecture. And then there are some social, religious, intellectual movements that develop called the Great Awakening and the Enlightenment. These are 2 very important terms that are actually in period 2 and period 3. So it's really essential that you are able to define both of them and then also tell how they impact the colonies and their relationship with Britain. So that's what you're looking at this week. The theme that we are addressing is called American and National Identity. This theme focuses on how and why definitions of American and national identity and values have developed among the diverse and changing population of North America, as well as on related topics such as citizenship, constitutionalism, foreign policy, assimilation, and American exceptionalism. The development of and debates about democracy, freedom, citizenship, diversity, and individualism shape American national identity, cultural values, and beliefs about American exceptionalism. And in turn, these ideas shape political institutions and society. Throughout American history, notions of national identity and culture have coexisted with varying degrees of regional and group identities. So there's only a few lessons that are particularly focused on this theme, about 7 lessons it looks like here. However, it has shown up multiple times in the DBQ. In fact, just last year, the 2022 exam, the DBQ was focused on national identity. So while it is a smaller objective or theme when we think about the number of lessons, it has shown up in DBQs lately. So it's definitely one we want to pay attention to. So what are some of the things you need to consider with this theme throughout the year? What were the causes of the development of an American identity separate from Britain? What influenced American attitudes about democracy, freedom, and citizenship in the Revolutionary era? How did controversies over issues such as expansion and slavery impact and reflect American attitudes about exceptionalism? How did beliefs about democracy, freedom, and citizenship lead to conflict and then change in the Reconstruction era? And how did international developments impact American identity? So those are kind of the things that you want to think about. For this particular lesson, you're really looking at just that first one. How did an American identity separate from Britain begin to develop, and why? So that's what we've got this week. Make sure to complete your initial post on Padlet, and then you've got your Period 2 Chapter 2 reading notes, your Period 2 Chapter 3 reading notes, and then your 3 objectives. So no additional assignment in these early days of the week. Usually we have one more additional assignment, but the 2 FBI notes should keep you plenty busy. So I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday.